Hello, my name is Alexis Bach, and I am a volunteer with NAMI, which stands for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. And I'm here today with Lori Husky, the president of NAMI. And the topic for today is going to be National Mental Health Month, which is coming up in May. So I would love if you could tell us a little bit about what activities are planned or offered through NAMI, which is located in the Ecker Center in Elgin.
Yes, May is Mental Health Month. In 2013, President Obama did declare it as May will be Mental Health Month, but that wasn't the beginnings of it. In 1949, an organization called Mental Health America established May as Mental Health Month. But they were, really fighting an uphill battle because in 1949, there was still very poor education about mental illness and even less support for people with mental illness and their families. Mm-hmm. But through the years and through all of the other organizations that have kind of sprouted up along the way, we now come together in force to bring awareness to mental health, to resources, because the biggest problem we have, acknowledged through all of the other groups as well, is stigma towards people with mental illness. We hold on to some really misguided and untruthful things.
So you would say that the main objective of Mental Health Month is really the awareness of stigma and how to break stigma down.
Right.
And how to educate the public, perhaps, on mental health.
Right. And we encourage people to really speak out. Speak up, speak out, tell your story, as Joe did this morning. It's very heartwarming. I'm glad we were able to introduce Joe because he really is an inspiration for me always. This morning I got up and I didn't feel so great. Maybe I'll stay home. But Joe comes every day to Ecker Center. And it really gives me encouragement to get beyond my little annoyances for the day and make my day better. We have quite a few things that go on in May as regards to NAMI. Of course, we have public service announcements, and nationally, NAMI will be putting out lots of information. Our local affiliate has a booth on May 4th at the Jewel grocery store here in Elgin on Larkin Avenue. And we offer brochures and information, welcome and accept donations. But it's a good chance for us to be very visible and to hand out information and encourage people to tell their stories and get help, because we know that early intervention is of prime importance and that treatment works, recovery is possible. So we are ambassadors at that time.
So when we're talking about breaking stigmas,
breaking the stigma, ending the stigma, we want to end it.
So when we talk about stigma in connection with mental health, what are some of those myths or erroneous ideas that are out there that the general public should understand that are just not true?
Okay. First of all, let me address anxiety, which is probably the most diagnosed globally mental illness. It is treatable, but people that have anxiety, and there are quite a few different types, social anxiety, or some people don't like to talk on the phone, or there's lots of different types that you can just get get a hold of yourself. Stop it. Just calm down.
Pull yourself up by your bootstraps kind of thing.
There's the old joke that nowhere in the history of saying, calm down, did anyone ever calm down? That's not how it works.
No, it's not.
But you can learn techniques to calm yourself. And so there's treatment for that.
What's an example of one of those techniques, let's say?
Well, mindfulness is very important to all of us. And you can use it at work. And you don't have to have a mental illness to be mindful. To ground yourself in the moment and be aware of what's around you, and to be aware of the type of breathing you're doing when you start getting anxious. Practice some deep breathing. Close your eyes, feel your feet on the floor, feel your bottom on the seat you're sitting on, or holding on to the shopping cart that you're pushing through the store, and breathe. And it usually will pass. Most times people think they're having a heart attack or something because it comes on so quickly. But through therapy, you can get lots of different treatments to help you learn to calm yourself.
Okay, so National Mental Health Month has a lot of stuff going on. Is there one or two things in particular that are going to be going on in the Elgin area, the Kane County North chapter of NAMI?
We're pretty low key, other than our booth at the Jewels store and handing out our information. We will be represented on May 4th also at Roosevelt University campus with the Second Baptist Church hosts a wellness weekend. They have been doing that for years, and we've spoken many times there. And this year, the Delta Sigma Beta sorority is hosting it in Schaumburg at the Roosevelt University campus.
Oh, excellent.
And NAMI will have a booth there, and I will be speaking again about mental health and how it takes all of us to end the stigma. And hopefully we can garner volunteers. You know, I've always said education is our best tool to dealing with our crises. And so learn more about it. Even if you're not ready to join NAMI or the movement, learn about it and work on yourself, on the stereotypes that you hold about people that have a diagnosed mental illness.
So what's an example of one of the stereotypes?
Well, I think the biggest is that people with mental illness are violent. And that statistically, that is not the case. People with mental illness are more likely to be the victims of violence because they're more vulnerable to being attacked or robbed or
taken advantage of in some way.
Scams with money and things like that. It is sad when something terrible happens, but it gives us an opportunity to look at, as a community, as a state, as a nation, what are we doing to end this and to assist people? I could go on and on about what we need, but it takes our legislators to also feel that that's important and to help funnel some more money into our social service agencies.
So with NAMI Local, I know one of the things that we need are volunteers.
Absolutely.
You know, our walk-in center is dependent upon volunteers.
Yes, it is.
Volunteers are a vital part of what keeps NAMI going.
They are the heart of NAMI in any of the affiliates. And as we bring this up, this is National Volunteer Appreciation Week. And so...
Oh, that's convenient.
Yes, I appreciate your volunteering as often as you do with all your treasures. And it doesn't always have to be that you're at our facility. Like you have education and background experience in graphics, and those kinds of things are so important to our board to getting the information out, to breaking the stigma, because you help facilitate our newsletter and our website. And those are vital. And we thank you for that, because the rest of us don't know anything about those things.
Oh, that's funny.
So, if you have a particular talent, something, please call me. We'll find somewhere.
Oh yes, I know. There's always somewhere. There's always somewhere something to help. And really,
Right.
as speaking as a volunteer, it doesn't take hours and hours and
No.
hours. It could be one small task, because many hands make the workload
Absolutely.
lighter.
One of our volunteers also does all of the work at home.
Oh,
and
okay.
She doesn't have the time because of other commitments
Right.
to be able to come to the facility physically. But she does she coordinates a lot of announcements through our emails, and it's wonderful. It takes the load off one person, and by doing that, you develop other new ideas and new ways of doing things.
So speaking of new ways of doing things, every month, the second Saturday of every
Right.
month, we have a board meeting.
We do.
And anyone and everyone is invited to come to that board meeting and to just sit in and observe and see what we're doing. And maybe by doing that, they'll be able to find, they have a need for someone to help. Maybe
Yes.
they have accounting skills.
Yes.
Which, being a graphic designer, I have none of that.
Yes.
And they could help us out in terms of accounting, because we are a nonprofit organization, and we run it professionally, legally, as a nonprofit organization. So there's always a little niche that someone can fill.
Absolutely, there is. And we meet at 9:30 in the morning, the second Saturday of every month, except in July. And we're up on the third floor in the Wellness Center. If somebody wants to see what this Wellness Center is all about, please come and join us, and we'd be happy to talk with you.
Well, thank you so much, Lori,
Thank
for
you.
spending this time with me today.
Thank you.
And we learned a little bit more about National Mental Health Month, which is coming up in May. And just really appreciate all the hard work and the years and everything that you have put into NAMI as a volunteer and as the president. And just an amazing job that you've done and the things that you've accomplished for the sake of breaking the stigma on mental health and helping the outside world, shall we say, in general, understand a little bit more about mental health and those who
Thank you for having
suffer.
me.